This is the Epoch Times.
Welcome to Epoch Audio, showcasing the best journalism covering news, culture, and society, addressing issues overlooked or avoided by other media. For the text version of this and more articles providing truth, tradition, and hope, please go to theepochtimes.com.
U.S. cell phone radiation tests are rigged, ignoring long-term health effects. Expert. By George Citriner. France's recent ban on sales of the iPhone 12 due to radiation concerns has sparked apprehension throughout Europe about the health risks of cell phone radiation exposure. American regulators focus narrowly on whether phones heat tissue, but some experts argue that such tests fail to show the whole picture. Devra Davis, a cancer epidemiologist who holds a doctorate in science studies and a master's in public health and epidemiology, told the Epoch Times the way they're tested is to see whether or not they heat you up and not for the chronic long-term effects that have been demonstrated, particularly the effects on sperm and lower testosterone, among others. According to Ms. Davis, the biggest problem with U.S. testing is that it's not conducted with the phone against the body. The tests are set up with spacers, as if phones were in holsters or other holders. She compared it to the Dieselgate scandal involving Volkswagen when the company rigged its tests to show lower exhaust emissions than the vehicle actually produced. Ms. Davis said, "When the French government tests cell phones as they are actually used, like in your hand or next to your body, the phones exceed European Union radiation limits." France has pulled or required software updates for 42 other cell phone models that emit excessive radiation since 2017, The Telegraph reported. The United States lacks this oversight, according to Ms. Davis. The telecommunications industry has almost complete control of the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, according to a report published by Harvard University's Edmund J. Safra Center for Ethics. A telecom lobbying group executive boasted that its lobbyists meet FCC officials 500 times annually, the report stated. Ms. Davis said, "We don't have any programs to test phones after they've been approved, and the approval process is self-regulated because of this revolving door that takes place between the FCC and the telecom industry." Ms. Davis said if phones underwent drug testing, they'd be illegal. She warned of the danger cell phones pose, similar to certain drugs found to cause cancer and other health problems, in her 2010 book, Disconnect: The Truth About Cell Phone Radiation, What the Industry Has Done to Hide It and How to Protect Your Family. She stands by it today. The Epoch Times reached out to the FCC, U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to comment on this story, but none replied by press time. Cell phone use might be linked to cancer risk. Heavy cell phone use has a possible association with increased brain cancer incidence, especially in research not funded by telecoms, according to a review of 23 case control studies in 2009 published in the Journal of Clinical Oncology. Quote, "Our government, however, stopped funding research on the health effects of radiofrequency radiation in the 1990s. Study author Joel Moskowitz, the director of the Center for Family and Community Health at the School of Public Health at UC Berkeley, said in a press statement in July 2021. Our main takeaway from the current review is that approximately 1,000 hours of lifetime cell phone use, or about 17 minutes per day over a 10-year period, is associated with a statistically significant 60% increase in brain cancer," Mr. Moskowitz wrote. The 2009 review was updated in 2020 to include 46 studies with similar findings. Cancer might be linked to living near cell towers. The International Commission on the Biological Effects of Electromagnetic Fields warned that radiofrequency radiation exposure limits established in the 1990s don't adequately protect the public, especially from the novel 5G technology that hasn't been the subject of health studies. Several bills pending in Congress would allow the telecom industry to put their towers wherever they want them, including right by your bedroom window if you're living in an apartment building, according to Ms. Davis. A review of scientific studies published in 2022 found that most of the research found increased rates of cancer and radiofrequency sickness in people living within close proximity to mobile phone base stations. A recent study from Brazil found that cancer mortality rose with population exposure to radio base station frequencies. Ms. Davis said, "The real problem is that in order for 5G to work, we need 1 million new antennas." Thanks for listening to Epoch Audio. This was U.S. cell phone radiation tests are rigged, ignoring long-term health effects. Written by George Citriner and read for you by Chris Rod.
For more Epoch Times articles in text, please visit theepochtimes.com.
This is the Epoch Times.